Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
We are back, and we are going to answer a question that we receive very frequently, which is how to earn full-time money working part-time in real estate. And this is a question that we receive all the time. This question is probably the second biggest question we get, following which brokerage should we choose, or which brokerage should I choose? How do I go about choosing brokerages? And by the way, we've done a lot of podcasts on that particular topic. So just go to iTunes or our own website and just put in the word broker or put in choosing broker, and you'll find our past shows on that. But this question is a very common question, and it's not easily answered. And I'm going to tell you why it's not easily answered quickly. And then we're going to get to point number 1. Because there is not one single answer for all folks. Now, if you have, and here's why. You cannot quit your full-time job, bottom line here, if you have people that are financially dependent on you. And if you lose that source of income, you're going to cause harm to those dependents.
And also create a lot more stress for yourself.
Right. And that comes in the form of not having sufficient income. That comes in the form of not being able to have health insurance and all the rest of it. So that's really the bottom line. We could draw it out, but really that's it. If you're choosing to quit your full-time job, which is providing financial security for your financial dependents, obviously if that's going to have an adverse effect on them, then you have to work part-time until your part-time income has become your full-time income. And one of the rules is, and this is one of our points today, but just write this in your notes because, again, this is a question we get all the time, is you have to have proven to yourself primarily and to them that you can indeed provide consistent income from your entrepreneurial endeavors as a real estate professional by having earned enough income to cover the family overhead for at least 6 months in a row. And now this is a high bar, but and normally we say 3 months. In our book we say 3 months, but we are saying 6 months because we're entering into a new economic era. And by era, we mean 10 years. This cycle that we're going to be in now with inflation is probably going to last 10 years. So we are strengthening our resolve with regards to you honoring the financial commitments you already made. Hopefully that resonates with all of you, because ultimately, if you don't do that and you just think somehow you're going to magically become the real estate messiah, and you're going to instantaneously find a bunch of income and deals in real estate, and then you don't, you're going to really the downstream negative effects of causing that financial stress to yourself and your family will probably not only result in you failing, but also could result in a lot of personal problems with your family as well, which we want you to avoid. So that is rule number 1 before we actually get to the first rule.
Yes. Now, if you are only taking care of yourself and or you have a big pot of cash saved, you have more freedom than what we just laid out for you.
Yep.
So be introspective. Okay. Point number 1, create a plan and actually follow it. Identify what your goal actually is from being in real estate. Are you working part-time until you can switch to full-time? And how much money would that take? Or is real estate always going to be just supplemental? What is the income that's actually required for you?
Which, by the way, it's fine if you just want real estate to be a part-time gig. Not a lot of, again, we know in the industry, everybody says you can't be part-time. Part-timers are somehow seen as like the scourge of the industry. Julie and I strongly, vehemently disagree with that, because oftentimes we find the part-time agents that have a plan, the part-time agents that have full-time, very professional jobs that have given them, organizational skills that most agents will never have, frankly. Sure. They're very efficient, and they can be part-time, quote unquote, and be more efficient and more successful and, frankly, more profitable than their full-time counterparts or agents that are claiming to be full-time. So just because you don't have another job and you're quote-unquote full-time in real estate doesn't mean that you're making any money, and especially compared to a well-organized professional part-time agent. And we've had many, many real estate coaching clients who have been part-time in real estate but have earned far more money than the national average does, a national full-time agent
and
does.
I would say more efficiently and more profitably too, because they don't blow their money on dumb stuff.
Okay, so point number 1, Julie.
Okay, we just did point number one. So point number 2 is.
Yes.
Know the difference. This is a big point. Know the difference between proactive lead generation and passive. Now, passive will make you beholden and eventually broke. So from this moment forward, don't do a bunch of research on it. Just trust your coaches, your podcasters here. Don't blow your money on buying leads. Be willing to prospect. See, a part-time agent who prospects is more efficient than a full-time agent who doesn't. The part-time agent will likely net a higher percentage of their income as well. Do not buy leads. Every time you pay for leads, you're adding to what you have to earn to meet or exceed your goals. It's almost like you're digging your hole deeper.
Well, so let's actually add some color to this point because it's really important. Now, what is the difference between it being a proactive lead generator and a passive? We can't assume that they know.
True.
Anytime you're buying a lead from any sort of lead selling service, you are a passive lead generator. And I even, frankly, don't even consider that lead generation. You're just wasting your money. That's really, in most cases, what you're doing.
Because you can't really call that leads.
No, a lead in itself has no value. You got to just scratch that from your problem is not lack of leads. Your problem is lack of pre-qualified leads. Your problem is lack of motivated leads. The most motivated leads aren't going to be the ones that are necessarily for sale. They're going to be the ones that you generate proactively. And just cutting through all the Mickey Mouse in the industry, you can right now get easy access to lists of sellers that cost you nothing. People who actually have their hands in the air right now say, yes, I want to sell my house. And no, it will take skill to not get the numbers and whatnot. That's relatively easy. You can get that through a variety of services. But it will take skill knowing what to say and how to say it. You're going to have to learn how to be a real estate professional. You're going to have to learn how to sell. You're going to have to learn some scripts and some objection handlers. But in exchange for learning that information, you will create an actual real estate business that is not beholden to buying leads. Otherwise, you're most likely going to fail. And I mean that, and that's not hyperbole either. There's 1.6 million agents in this industry. And Julie and I have been in the coaching and training business and real estate, for that matter, for 25 years. We're at an all-time high number of agents in the industry, but we're also at an all-time high for the number of agents failing out of the real estate industry. So how in this era where there's all these different ways for agents to build their businesses, can you have so many agents that are failing? Because the things that agents are believing are going to help them build their businesses, air quotes there, they don't work. And they have never worked, and they're not going to work.
Well, if they did work, everybody wouldn't be failing out of it.
Exactly, and failing at it in a higher, at a faster pace.
Yes.
It used to be that most agents, it was the old joke when you got your real estate license. I remember when you and I got our real estate licenses, right? The pre-licensing person said, the person to your left to the person to your right, they're not going to be in the business in 24 months. But now it's like in the ratios. So most people would fail. A big wave of people would stick in, hang on by their fingernails for 24 months because they would do some deals. Their friend from
deals.
high school, their aunt, their grandma, they pick up some deals. But after that, if they didn't learn how to be proactive lead generators, they did no deals. And then they failed out of the business. So it used to be that most would fail out of at 24 months, and then there would be another big, wave of people that failed out after about 60 months. Most people do not stay in the business for more than 60 months. Why? Because they do not learn how to be proactive lead generators. They're always having to buy their business. They're always having to chase the shiny objects. They're always having to worry about where the next deal is going to come from. As a part-time agent, you do not have time to screw around trying to figure it out.
Nope.
You just have to enter the business knowing you're going to be a proactive lead generator. You're going to focus all your best energies every single day on becoming a listing agent. That's what matters most. If you don't listen to me now, you will listen to me after you've made the other mistakes and you tried to shortcut doing the real work of real estate. You tried to believe that you didn't have to essentially become a true real estate professional by having long periods of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do at the highest level. You will go through the learning cycle, but hopefully you'll go through the learning cycle quickly so that you can circle back and finally decide to be a true real estate professional. Point number 3, right?
Point number 3, correct. Track your numbers closely using the whiteboard system that we teach you in Premier Coaching. Concentrate heavily on lead generation, proactive lead generation, and tracking your short-term leads. 90% of your time should be spent generating new business and only 10% on the actual appointments. You're not going to have days and days full of appointments. You don't need them. You need to generate the lead, win on your appointment, do your deals. That's the simplified version.
So now we're going to say something else, which again goes against the zeitgeist, certainly, of all these guys that sell CRMs. But do not worry about long-term lead follow-up. For the most part, it's a complete and total waste of time. Long-term lead follow-up, drip campaigns are a complete and total waste of time, especially if you do not have the time to waste. So let's say you get into the business and you're going to be part-time. And, this is a great time to get into the business part-time, frankly. You're going to set aside, let's say, for example, 2 days of the week. Maybe it's Friday, maybe it's Saturday. In that time where you're going to be in the business, you have to have a schedule. The schedule is going to, let's say it's a morning schedule. The schedule is going to lay out specifically what you should be doing in essentially numerical form. This many contacts to this many people. And the ratios we know from having done this forever will have these results over approximately this amount of time. You see how we're taking a business approach and we're not just saying create a bunch of TikTok videos.
Well, that gets back to having a plan and following it.
I did, and I do often, just to, frankly, make myself feel nuts. So I watched
I knew you were going to say I watched something.
I watched a YouTube video on somebody who was giving advice to new agents, one of these YouTube coaches, and he was talking about how to go about becoming a success creating YouTube videos as a real estate agent, as a new real estate agent. And his first piece of advice was to create a bunch of still photos of yourself to use as thumbnails on your YouTube videos showing different emotions. And he said, I'm not making it up. And so he said, and he even gave a website, go to this website. And now some of you are going, damn, Tim, that's a good idea. Thanks. No, you're missing my point. It's a terrible idea. I'm making fun of this idea. Okay. Be clear about this. And I'll give you all the reasons really quickly why it's just a waste of your time. But anyway, just back to it. So there was like 50 different emotional videos or 50 different emotional facial expressions that you were supposed to create. Excited, happy, scared, angry, sad. And it was just ridiculous. And at the end of the day, those were supposed to be the thumbnails along with some sort of attention-grabbing, sales copy, and then whatever your video was going to be about. That is what he was telling new agents to do. This was his incredible real estate coaching advice. Spend your time trying to create videos that somehow miraculously you think your potential sellers or even buyers are going to find and want to consume. Are you kidding me?
I was just thinking, okay, I'm a seller. I have to sell my house. Like, I'm a really good quality seller, I'm totally motivated. I'm going to list it this weekend, and I'm going to go look for your happy face on YouTube on your thumbnail. Does not happen.
It just gets worse than that because, again, you have everyone, whether you're part-time or full-time, you do have a limited amount of time. Even if you're saying, well, I have all the time because I'm new and I don't have a lot of things going on, you have a limited time of energy or limited time you can truly focus and get the best out of every single day. Why would you waste time on the things that in your heart and soul know are a complete and utter waste of time? And let's just cut through it. It's because you do not know any better yet, but you will soon learn. And because you do not know how to do the real work of real estate. And frankly, doing all that other stuff is fun, especially if you're creative, and a lot of you guys are. It's fun to spend time doing all that other stuff. It's fun to delude yourself in thinking somehow miraculously that's going to create business. But remember, you do not have a lot of time to waste. So why would you waste time doing anything other than going directly after the people who have their hands in their air right now saying, yes, I want to sell my house.
Which is what we teach you in coaching.
Which is what we teach you in coaching.
All right, point number.
Well, let's actually. So we're talking a lot about schedules. We're talking about numbers. We're talking about having a plan, right? So we've already done all the heavy lifting for you, and we want you to download our free real estate treasure map. That's what it's called. It's a book. It's called the Real Estate Treasure Map, and it is your fill in the blank business and life plan. So the first thing, as we have all coaching clients do, is complete the real estate treasure map. That creates essentially the roadmap to where they're going to be going short and long term with their real estate businesses. It is numbers based. It is about money. It is about the number of contacts, who you're going to be, the types of business you're going to be pursuing. All of that is part of the real estate treasure map, and it is absolutely free to you. And for a limited time, we're also going to include a free coaching call with one of our new member coaches. You simply have to text our last name, Harris, to 47372. Text our last name, Harris, Harris, to 47372. And when you do, we're going to text you back a link so you can download the treasure map and schedule your free coaching call, your business planning call with one of our new member coaches. So go ahead right now. You can do it while you're listening to us. Text our last name, Harris, to 47372. And remember, message and data rates may apply. Point number 4. Okay.
Yes. So choose your broker wisely. It does matter. Make a profit on your transactions in more than just one way. Choose a broker who's already operating in the metaverse, and choose a broker who offers health insurance. These are basic broker choices.
Exactly. So really the bottom line is, if you're looking for a broker, if you've not chosen a broker, or if you've chosen a broker and you've discovered that it's not working out, which is often the case, we'll strongly suggest that you consider eXp Realty, and we would love the opportunity to earn the right to be your sponsors at eXp Realty. Long story short, eXp Realty is the solution for all that ails you in your brokerage selection paradigm, in your paradox of who should you be putting your license with. The answer, once you learn about eXp Realty, will be very clear. So if you're ready to join eXp Realty and you're looking for a sponsor who will be proactive in your success, yes, Julie and I are formally applying for the job of being your sponsor. And yes, you can text me directly right now. And just put EXP in the subject line. Just text EXP. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and we will grab a phone call. And my cell phone number is 512-758-0206. Please only text. Do not call. 512-758-0206, and we will schedule a time so we can talk about eXp Realty. Now, if you're just getting started and you want to learn more about eXp Realty and you're not quite ready to make the commitment, that's fine too. Just text the letters EXP. Just text the letters EXP to 47372. Text the letters EXP to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply. But if you're ready to join, you're looking for a sponsor, we would love the opportunity to earn the right to be your sponsor. Just text me directly on my cell phone at 512-758-0206. Point number 5, Julie.
Point number 5, get your pre-listing package, your buyer's presentation, and listing presentations done, learned, and polished as soon as possible. Now, caveat to that, you do not have to be perfect at them to earn while you learn, but you do need to have them. Earn while you learn. Knowledge equals confidence. Ignorance equals fear. These presentations give you the confidence that you need to succeed. You will feel like making more calls, more contacts, more, appointments when you know that your presentations are together.
So just, again, really important. She said something incredibly critically important. Earn while you learn. Don't be setting aside the next few months to get your business together, to get your plan together, to organize this, organize that. Earn while you learn, because you're going to earn faster while you're learning, or rather you're going to learn faster while you're earning. Both are true. Mm-hmm. But what you'll discover, especially when you follow our coaching program, is there's a hell of a lot less to actually learn than what you're being led to believe. You do not have to have fancy branding. You do not have to form a team. You do not have to worry about agent websites. You do not have to create some long-term lead follow-up campaign. You do not have to learn how to make a bunch of videos. All of that stuff is optional. Optional in the sense you probably will never actually have to do it, provided you drill down and you learn and you follow what point number 6 is. Julie Harris.
Yes, you will get better faster when you're actually out there. So point number 6, know what makes you money in real estate. Lead generation, lead follow-up, pre-qualifying, presenting, negotiating, and closing. You can indeed ignore everything else. So you're in your office and you've got 2 hours to spend on your real estate practice and you are wondering what to do. It's proactive lead generation, furiously fast lead follow-up, set those appointments after you've pre-qualified, present using your presentations, and close. That's it. That's, asked and answered.
And if you can only get really good at a few activities in real estate, and we're giving you permission to be terrible at everything else in real estate other than these 3 or 4 activities. Proactive lead generation, which is specifically geared towards soliciting sellers. Number 2, lead follow-up, or what we like to call furiously fast lead follow-up. That often wins the day more than you can possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. Fast lead follow-up is one of the secret sauces of real estate. Learning to pre-qualify, following our scripts, which really our conversation outlines, knowing what questions to ask in which order, and then, of course, presenting. You know those things and you master those things, and those 4 things are relatively easy to master. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes you stopping, getting out of the gates, no more getting ready to get started, just jump in the deep end. But you do those 4 things, and you learn to do those things, I wouldn't even say at the highest levels. No. If you do those things at above average levels.
Reasonably well.
Right, reasonably well, mm-hmm. You're going to be incredibly successful in real estate.
Yeah.
And all the other things that you think are important, that you're filling your mind with, that are filling your inbox, frankly, that you're poking around on Facebook and learning all this other Mickey Mouse, it is incredibly optional, if not completely, frankly, unnecessary. And in the worst case scenario, some of these other activities are going to be at the detriment of your what could have otherwise been a successful real estate career, because it's going to get you too far off course of doing mm-hmm. what you really should be doing. And I'll give you a little clue, a little litmus test. if you're not putting yourself in the position to hear the word no at least 5 times a day, you're not doing your job. So that is the bottom line. And how many of you right now, just by the very fact I said what I just did, are shuddering? You mean I'm supposed to feel rejected 5 times a day? Yes, that is correct.
At least. If
you're not putting yourself in the position to be rejected, I'm not saying get rejected. In other words, you're asking questions of sellers that could result in them saying no. Now, the better you get at your job, the less you'll hear no. Or when you hear no, it'll just roll off your back like a water rolls off a duck's back, because you'll know what to say and how to say it. You'll know how to move forward in the conversation. What is your alternative to following our plan? It's a bunch of bright light, shiny object. You're going to be like a mosquito to a blue light, and you're going to be getting zapped constantly. And eventually, you're going to be like most agents, failing out of the business in 24 months or less. Point number 7, use a transaction coordinator when you're averaging at least 2 transactions per month for at least 6 months in a row. Now, in our book, we suggest it's 2 transactions per month for 3 months, right?
90 days, yep.
Right. But we're suggesting now 6 months because of the fact that we are entering into new uncharted waters as far as inflation. And we don't really know. Nobody really knows. There's never been a time when there's a potential recession at the same time the Fed thinks it's smart to raise interest rates. Mm-hmm. That's never happened before. Never, ever happened before. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? Ultimately, there probably is going to be some form of recession or stagflation, and we'll certainly be warning you guys about all this along the way. But for now, before you quit your stable income providing, insurance providing full-time job of, you have to have proven to yourself primarily and to your family, assuming you have one, or your financial dependents, your cat, for example, that you can provide steady income by having done at least 2 transactions per month for 6 months in a row. When you've gotten to that point, primarily doing that off of listings, you will be well on your way to being a successful real estate agent, and you will have the discipline at that point to weather any financial storms or any economic storms. Julie, point number 8.
Point number 8, know agents to refer business to when you get overscheduled, and track those referrals, especially buyer side referrals.
Yep.
Eliminate the feeling of, what if what I'm doing works really well? If I'm not really ready to handle it? Get rid of that feeling, because you can absolutely refer business when you're either overscheduled or have too many buyers. Referral agents, not team members. You do not need to build a team. Get that out of your head.
It is funny when we hear coaching clients say that.
I know.
They'll join our coaching program and they'll say, I get it. I'm going to do this. It's going to result in this. This effort equals this result. Over time, essentially my amount of effort will result in more. Or my amount of effort will result in greater levels of results. Mm-hmm. I can't handle the success.
Right.
I'm worried about, no, that's just a BS excuse you're using to not even start. That's just something that's in your head that absolutely makes no sense. It's just you procrastinating actually doing the real work of real estate. So stop acting like you have some sort of deep-rooted mindset, psychological issues. And you won't like this, and I don't like saying it, but it is the truth. When you're facing down those types of thoughts, it's just you being lazy. You don't want to put yourself in a position to make yourself uncomfortable. So you're creating this long litany of excuses. I have fear of success. I have fear of failure. Or I'm not optimistic, or I'm too pessimistic. There is none of all those things are just essentially, man-made constructs that are in your head. What there really is there's doing it or not doing it. That's it. That's the bottom line. All the rest of this stuff is stuff that people have decided to create as a creative excuse to procrastinate doing what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it at the highest level. And if you're part-time getting this business full-time and you make that mistake, you will never make that transition. You won't.
That's right. I remember that quote from when Elon Musk was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked him, how do you manage your mindset on days where you're just, feeling off or you're feeling negative? And it's like it didn't even register with him. Which
it's
you can
such a dumb question,
It's
honestly.
a dumb question, but his answer was, I just get things done.
Yeah. But
I just do the things.
It is a dumbass question. Can you imagine?
Well, it's handing you an excuse.
It is, but it's essentially the nerfing up of society too. It's gross.
And it's making the assumption that you get stuck a lot.
Well, it's normalized. It's people that basically, right, it's people that are underachievers who are trying to surround themselves with more people that are underachievers, so they never actually have to make themselves uncomfortable.
Confirmation bias.
Right. Yeah. Can you imagine Elon Musk actually saying, well, I only do things I'm passionate about?
No.
Guys, seriously, you got to move past all this sort of malaise.
Get the stuff done.
That's settled. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel, a little fear. You're still supposed to do it anyway.
Well, that's why real estate is not a minimum wage job.
Well, it's the reason that so many people fail out of real estate.
I know.
It's because they buy into all of this malarkey. There's an old word, right? They buy into all this malarkey that somehow you're supposed to be passionate about it. And if you're not feeling passionate, you're not going to be successful. Not true. Most of what you're going to do in real estate is boring, is drudgery. That's called having a real job. And by the way, that's true with anything that you do. Julie used to be a professional musician. She's played in orchestras. She's been recorded. She's played on soundtracks. And she eventually came to the conclusion, this is feeling, I'm telling your story, but
okay.
For the sake of getting
It's
this
all right.
done,
Yeah.
it was a lot of, I met her in high school, and she was a lot of very passionate, musician. And over time, as it became a job.
Right. And I felt like I had done that, but even when that was the best of times, I still had thousands of hours of practice that were not as enjoyable as the performance. So it does apply to everything that you do when you're successful in life. So point number 9, discuss with your spouse, partner, family, etc., what it's going to take and get their support. Don't make the assumption that they're going to get it without you talking to them.
This is the most important point of all these, in my opinion, because this is the one that we've received the most positive feedback on.
Yes.
And one of the things we always suggest to people, and I love it when we get these pictures sent to us because it's absolutely hilarious, is imagine getting a whole bunch of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, or, just stick with me for what I'm trying to paint here for you guys, taping them together and making maybe a 5-foot tall column. And within that column, on one side, create like a thermometer, like a vision. You guys might remember, if you're of a certain age, the Jerry Lewis telethon or any kind of telethon, where the big goal was at the top, and every time someone donates money, whatever, a little bit of the thermometer gets filled in. Well, we want you to do something exactly like that with your family. Now, if you have kids, you actually have a blessing and a burden with the example we're about to give you. We'll suggest is when you're setting course on your real estate business, especially if you're going from part-time to full-time, you need to sit down with your dependents, your family, your whatever, and you need to be saying, this is what I'm trying to do. These are the sacrifices I'm personally going to have to make. I'm not going to be able to go to Johnny and Susie's kickboxing things and all the practices, and I am going to have to put volunteering and 15 different things on the back burner. For now, I need to make this business the biggest priority in my life, and that does mean I'm going to have to sacrifice, and so are you. So I'm not going to be as present with all of you that I otherwise would have been. But here's how I want you to support me, provided everyone's going to be on the same page. When I hit certain milestones in the business, we are going to celebrate by doing these things. And let's say, for example, your goal is to make $100,000 in real estate. So at the top of this thermometer goes $100,000. But what you're going to do is, once you've reached $100,000, these are the payoffs to the family. There's going to be the trip to Disney World, which, by the way, that probably isn't. I mean, you'll spend $100,000 at Disney World, so be careful there.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, you'll have these specific things that all the family is going to be excited about, especially if you have little kids. Now, along the way, you can have other payoffs too. When mom or dad, take their first listing, this is what's going to happen. Sell their first listing, or earn $25,000. You guys get what we're getting at here? Get the whole family to buy in. Have visual accountability that your kids and your family and your spouse and your cat and your dog and your hamster are all going to be able to see. The hamster gets a new hamster ball when you sold your first house, right?
Little kids are the best accountability partners ever.
Best as in the worst.
They don't forget anything.
Yes, and they're really, really
relentless
ass riders. Yes.
Yes.
So that's going to be why it's a blessing and a curse, because you're going to have, you think Julie and I are tough real estate coaches? If you got a 6-year-old that wants to see Disney princesses and you're sitting on your ass when you could be on the phone calling sellers, trust me, little Johnny or Susie are not going to tolerate it.
That's right.
But this is how you do it. This is how you get the whole family buy-in.
And you make it a lot more fun, and you get the support that you need. Go ahead.
So remember, a lot of you guys are ready to take the next natural step with your real estate careers, and you're ready to join Julie and I as a Premier Coaching student. We've made it very easy for you. We have made a very quick and simple way for you to sign up. If you don't want to talk with one of our new member coaches, if you just want to jump to the head of the line, because every month we let around 100 agents join, just text our last name, actually text Premier to 47372. text the word Premier to 47372. And when you do, that's going to take you directly to the front of the line, and you can sign directly up for coaching yourself. You don't need to talk with anyone. You could do it yourself. Text the word Premier to 47372. And remember, you can join Premier Coaching for around $100 a month, depending on which program you decide to pursue. So text the word Premier to 47372. We'll text you back a link. You can go to a microsite that we created, which explains all of our different coaching programs. But you guys all want to start out by joining Premier. It's our gateway coaching program, which gives you tremendous value, including a daily semi-private coaching call with one of our new member coaches. So text the word Premier to 47372. And remember, when you're texting, message and data rates may apply. Point number 10, Julie.
Point number 10, ask for help when you need it. You're going to need help. Part-time agents are common and welcome in all of our coaching programs, especially Premier Coaching. We have pilots, firefighters, teachers. We have a real rocket scientist. I know because I didn't buy it when I saw her email. I called her. Yes, honest to God, rocket scientist. She works at the Jet Propulsion Lab. She's in real estate. It's okay to be part-time. It's okay to be making that bridge, but you need to get help so we can make you more efficient. You can make more money faster.
Well, to that point, if you are any of those people, or if you're just working at, it doesn't even really matter. I mean,
No.
you could be working at Starbucks. You're going to have a natural built-in center of influence, and really a center of influence.
Yes, that's an advantage.
Because if you're working at some big company, especially some big institutional type company, there's going to be a human resources department. Mm-hmm. There's going to be people that work there. There's going to be people that work there that have lists of agents that they suggest to people when those people are asking for referrals for real estate agents, including relocation folks. So it's very simple for you to get on that list, very simple for you to become one of the agents they're referring business to. But some of our most successful part-time agents, some of which chose to stay part-time because they were getting so much business from their full-time jobs, that's how they've done it. Teachers are awesome at this, honestly.
Yes, and people in hospitality also.
Hospitality, any kind of job where you're coming in direct interaction with the consumers every single day means that you have a natural tolerance for putting up with people's BS.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about some of our very successful coaching clients. They were in pharmaceutical sales. We had a rock star that was like top cell phone sales.
Yep.
So salespeople that are selling something else tend to be very successful. But it doesn't matter what it is. When you follow a system, doesn't matter your personality style, doesn't matter what your other job is, doesn't matter what your family situation is. You all can be successful when you follow these specific points. So point number 11, our final point, is don't listen to anyone who tells you that you can't do it. It's not up to them. It's up to you. Adopt, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, that mentality, and then take massive action daily. Own it. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. It's not up to somebody that, don't even ask for advice unless they're qualified.
Many of you getting into this business, I would say a vast majority of you getting into this business have no real background being entrepreneurs or being business owners. And the industry is laying in the tall grass for you, the industry being all the companies that are selling stuff to agents. There's billions of dollars that are earned every year from people selling buyer leads and selling branding and marketing and all this other stuff to you guys. And they know that you don't know how to discern what is good and what is bad. And you need to lean back into these simple questions, especially if you're getting into this part-time versus full-time. Do not be doing anything that's not going to result in you getting essentially being in a position to help people and make money within 90 days or less. So if it's going to be one of these ideas, most of which are being sold to you guys, which do not promise any kind of desirable outcome within any kind of time frame, right? Notice that. They're going to sell you some whiz-bang idea, but they're not going to tell you what you're going to get from it because you're going to get nothing from it. And you're going to stumble across YouTube coaches and all these other ne'er-do-wells who are going to tell you that you need to be doing all this stuff. And you don't. What you need to be doing in real estate are the things that those types of people won't do, which inevitably will result in the vast majority of them failing out of the business. You need to do the real work of real estate. Don't screw around. Don't waste time. Jump into the deep end. Become a listing agent right away. Don't think you have to sharpen your saw working on some part of somebody's team. And I realize everywhere you turn, the big trend is teams. Teams that are going to provide all this and the other thing. Who is promoting that mythology? I'll tell you who's promoting it. The people that are making money off people believing it. That's who's promoting it. When you go to Inman, and we love Inman, but when you go to Inman or any of these other sort of sites that are sponsored by CRMs, that are sponsored by people selling leads, their businesses are based on essentially that dysfunctional business model. You don't have to start out working as part of a team. You can become a successful listing agent right when you get your license Thousands of agents do, especially ones that have joined with us as our coaching program. Julie and I did. We sold over 100 houses our first year, primarily being listing agents. You guys can do the same thing. Don't take half measures. Again, you don't have the time to waste, whether you're full-time or part-time. Don't give yourself too much time to waste, because chances are you will just become a real estate roadkill statistic. And you have to be proactive with rejecting all of these non-practical sort of, fancy-free ideas. And I'll tell you exactly, I gave you one hint. If it's not going to if the probability of it not producing actual spendable money within 90 days or less, you shouldn't do it. Straight up. But I'll give you the other thing, and we mentioned this earlier. If the thing that they're trying to sell you has zero chance of you being rejected from having done it, it's a BS idea.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because what they're doing is they're playing into your fear of rejection, because you are naturally fearful of rejection because of the fact that you know you're going to get rejected a lot because you don't have any skills. You get it? So they're trying to manipulate and take advantage of the fact that you now are getting into the business, or you're going to, whatever. You may have been in the business for a long time and you're listening to us and you realize what your biggest fear of in real estate is hearing the word no. You hear the word no, and it's never no. It's always no, not right now. And you can overcome that, move past that, or never hear it in the first place if you've actually followed a system. That's what our coaching program is all about. That's why so many of you are joining every single month. Don't take half measures, especially in what is becoming a sketchy economy. Guys, please listen to what we're saying. Definitely don't lose your sense. Don't lose your common sense. Don't let some, fancy, I think verifiable promise suck the money out of your wallet. And this is something we see happen constantly. And because here's the downside to that. If you get into real estate, you don't do the right things, you become a passive lead generator, in other words, generating no leads, and then you fail out of the business within 24 months. Not only are you going to fail out of the business with a bunch of debt, most likely, but you're going to fail out of the business with a little bit of having had a soul-crushing experience. You'll have been excited to get into real estate. You'll have told all your family and friends you're in real estate, and now the next thing you know, you're no longer in real estate. The probability of you ever having enough faith and confidence in yourself to really, become an entrepreneur, which we're big advocates of, and becoming the best version of yourself as a real estate salesperson after you failed out of it is about zero. So you're going to think something was wrong with you. You're going to think you failed. What you're not realizing, and maybe some of you who are listening to us now are realizing, you're not the failure. The ideas that you're trying to make work are the failure. They were never designed to work because they know most people buying those ideas are out of the business within 24 months or less.
And there'll be somebody standing right behind you with a freshly minted license that they'll sell the same thing to. They don't care about you. They don't care about your success.
And, that's it. That's the bottom line. So, guys, take responsibility for your own financial futures. Do the real work of real estate. Do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. And this can be an incredible career. Here's the greatest. Let's leave this on a high note. Mm-hmm. The greatest fortunes of humanity are always made during the greatest times of change. And there are no exceptions to that. We are entering one of those times now. Because what happens are most people, and watch this just with your friends and your family, not even people that are non-real estate agents, what they're going to try to do is keep the world the same. They hate change. The ones that are willing to accept change, the ones that are willing to have open minds to what might be coming next, the ones that are not going to allow their inner skeptic to kill their potential, those are the ones that see the opportunities. And the greatest opportunities come as the worlds are bridging, society's bridging from sort of one reality to the next. That is happening at all times, but there's a very distinct, very clear economic, change that's going to take place as inflation becomes something. It'll probably become stagflation. We might even have a recession. There's going to be interest rates are supposedly going to go up, by 1.25%, 1.5% this year. The impact that's going to have is going to be profound in all meaningful ways. Not just the stock market. It's going to affect every single person. Don't be fearful of it. Don't read the headlines. Be excited about it, knowing that most people are going to be stuck in that never world of trying to keep things the way they were or not knowing what to do, where you do know what to do, especially if you become one of our coaching clients.
Yes, don't go through it alone. Let us help you. We'll make it easier.
So guys, thank you for continuing to make this the #1 listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. We certainly appreciate it. We're well over 20 million downloads since we started the podcast. And we do always appreciate if you guys obviously give us great feedback on iTunes, on Stitcher. We definitely read them. They motivate us. Thank you for the 5-star reviews. If you're listening to us on iTunes, we're trying to build the iTunes audience. So please like and subscribe today's podcast. Do go back and listen to the past podcasts. If you're wanting something that's a little bit, I think, more lighthearted, listen to the series that we just finished on the metaverse. And we just finished that one yesterday. You guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.